You know that feeling, right? You're starting a new project, a new topic, and it feels like you have to read the entire internet. It's just chaos. But what if there was a simple routine to turn all that initial noise into a crystal clear sense of direction? Well, there is. It's called the Recon routine, and we're going to break it down step by step right here.
It all starts with this feeling. You're ready to go. You open up like a dozen tabs. You download a few reports, and then nothing. You're just stuck. It feels like you're drowning in information, and you have absolutely no idea where to even begin. That's analysis paralysis, and it can stall a project before it even has a chance to get going.
I bet this looks pretty familiar, huh? That sense of being totally swamped is, well, it's a universal part of almost any kind of research or analysis. You're desperately trying to find a signal in all that noise, but all you're getting is more noise. And it's frustrating, it's demotivating, and it usually leads to one very specific and very unproductive outcome.
And this, right here, is the perfect description of where you end up. After an hour of just frantically clicking and skimming, you don't have a clear path forward. Nope. What you have is a digital pile of half-read articles and documents. Sure, you've been busy, but have you actually made any real progress? Probably not. Okay, so let's completely reframe the goal. What if the whole point of your first 15 minutes wasn't to know everything? What if it was just to map the territory? The key idea here is that your first output shouldn't be a bunch of detailed notes. It should be what the source material calls a service map, basically a high-level overview of the entire landscape you're about to explore. Now, this little shift in focus is so critical because it helps us fight the real enemy of getting started. And it turns out we're often worried about the wrong thing entirely. And this gets to a really fascinating contrast. See, we usually think the biggest danger is getting some small detail wrong, a technical mistake. But the true barrier, the thing that actually stops us cold, is the mental exhaustion from having way too many choices. That's decision fatigue. And this is the secret sauce. This is the core principle that makes the whole thing work. The Recon routine isn't really about being perfect from the get-go. It's about making the process of starting less mentally draining. By giving yourself a structure, you get rid of that constant, tiring question of, okay, what should I do next? You're saving your precious brain power for the analysis that actually matters. So, how do we actually put this into practice? Well, we use a simple, repeatable process. This is the Recon routine. It's a 5-step framework designed to take you from feeling totally overwhelmed to totally organized. So here are the 5 steps at a glance. You confirm, then you map, then verify, then rank, and finally, you write. You can see it's a really logical flow that just builds on itself, creating momentum and clarity right from the very start. So let's just quickly touch on what each of these really means. First up is confirm. Think of this as your sanity check. Before you even think about diving in, you ask yourself, am I trying to solve the right problem here? Are my first assumptions even correct? It's kind of like checking your destination on a map before you start driving. It just prevents you from wasting hours heading in completely the wrong direction. Next, you map. This is where you create that service map we were just talking about. Imagine you're sketching a quick, hand-drawn map of a new city you're visiting. You're not detailing every single street, right? You're just drawing the major landmarks and neighborhoods. What are the main components? The key players? What are the boundaries of this topic? You're just creating a high-level guide for yourself.
Then you verify. So now you've got this rough map, and you just need to quickly check if it's accurate. Now this is not a deep dive, not at all. It's a spot check. Just pick 2 or 3 key points on your map and do a quick search. Does reality match your sketch? This step is all about building confidence that your big picture understanding is on the right track.
Okay, now for the most crucial step, rank. With a verified map in your hand, you decide what's most important. Where should you focus your energy first? This is the active fight against decision fatigue. By making one strategic decision right now, okay, I will start right here, you save yourself from that mental drain of making a dozen small, unfocused decisions later on.
And finally, write. This sounds so simple, but man, is it powerful. You just document your map, and most importantly, you write down your ranked list of questions or areas to investigate. Think of this as leaving a super clear, organized set of instructions for yourself. So when you come back to the project, there's no confusion, no paralysis. You're setting your future self up for immediate, focused success.
Now, the really good news is you don't have to invent all these structures from scratch. The whole idea is to rely on a process, not just your own memory. And to do that, you can use a few simple tools.
Oh, I love this quote because it just nails the heart of the matter. It's not about being smarter or having a better memory. It's about having a better system. A good structure does all the heavy lifting for you, and that frees up your mind to actually think, connect ideas, and analyze.
The source material actually gives a few examples of what these tools could look like. For step 1, confirm, you might use something like an eligibility checklist to just tick off your core assumptions. For step 2, map, a coverage tier map could help you visualize the landscape. And for step 4, rank, a simple decision card could help you weigh priorities. You know, the specific tool itself doesn't really matter as much as the idea of using these simple templates to guide your thinking.
So what's the ultimate result of all this? What's the big payoff for adopting a routine like this one? Well, it's a fundamental transformation in how you approach your work. It takes you from a place of just total uncertainty to one of targeted, actionable insight.
And here's the before and after in a nutshell. You go from following some vague hunch about where to look to investigating a ranked question. And that is a clear, specific, and prioritized starting point for your actual deep dive analysis.
And that, right there, is the entire game. You're not just creating another to-do list. You're building a strategic plan. Every single item is connected to that larger map, and it's been deliberately prioritized. This makes sure that when you finally do dive deep, your effort is focused exactly where it's going to have the most impact. So, as we wrap this up, I'll leave you with something to think about. The next time you start a project, just ask yourself this one question. Is my process creating clarity, or is it just creating more notes? Because honestly, the difference between those two is everything.